Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of the OilersCast. As we got the very first ever episode, so we got a lot to talk about. Of course, there's no games to really talk about. And this episode will probably be a little bit shorter. I'm not feeling the greatest today. I've been doing a lot of play-by-play, so my throat feels a little dead. I'm feeling a little bit better now, so it should be a good episode. We have tons to talk about, tons of news to go over. Savoy just got nominated for the Hobby Baker Award, which is just absolutely amazing. And then we're going to be talking about Ken Holland. We're also going to be talking about Evander Kane stuff, Connor McDavid, all sorts of stuff. And we're also going to be talking about the lineups as well, and then some of your guys' personal input as well. So welcome, everyone, to the very first episode. And yo, Others, man. Yo, Grayson. How's it going, boys? Hope you guys are all having a good day so far. So I think I'm going to pop up my kind of the points that I want to talk about, because we have a decent amount to talk about, and I really didn't plan on what I was going to talk about first or what I was going to go over, because there is a decent amount to go over. I've been taking screenshots of Instagram and everything like that. Not Instagram, Twitter, of some stuff that the others have been saying and everything like that, just because, you know, want to keep up with some stuff. I think I'm doing the thing. I am making the podcast. Well, the episodes of the OilersCast will be live. Yes, so every episode of the OilersCast will be live, and then I'll put it out as like an audio file on SoundCloud and stuff like that, like afterwards. Yo, Caden, how's it going? Oh, Weather Ontario, how's it going, bro? So let's talk about Holland. I think that could be the very first topic that we get into. I think the last topic will be where we talk about the Oilers going up against the Ottawa Senators tomorrow. We'll talk about the lineups and everything like that. We also going to talk about COVID-19 hitting the team hard. We're also going to be talking about, can this team turn things around over the next little bit. We all know that the Edmonton Oilers are like 6-2 or something like that in the last 10, so we haven't been too fantastic. We're going to talk about Evander Kane, which we're also going to be talking about with Ken Holland's press conference as well. So let's get into that. I think I pulled up some screenshots that I do want to talk about in this, in this episode of what Ken Holland said. So basically, so let's talk about everything that Ken Holland has said over the past little bit. So he came out, did a press conference, I think it was on Tuesday. Basically talked about how the team's doing, and is he going to make any changes? Is there going to be any coaching changes? So first thing that we're going to talk about first is that Dave Tippett is going to be a head coach for the rest of the season. Now, I'm not too happy about this. Holland, I think, should fire Tippett. I think this is the kind of the time that you do. Tippett's not able to pull the things that we should be able to get out of this team. The year that we actually did really good, when we actually made it deep into the playoffs and Tom McClellan was our head coach, we looked way better 5-on-5. Way better on our defensive side, even goaltending. We had better goaltending at the time. Our goaltending has been atrocious. Our 5-on-5 game this year has been really poor, and Ken Holland didn't do anything to address that fact. When he was asked that if he's going to be making any trades, he said that he will not. Even on Freeman on 32 Thoughts, Holland was asked about his first this week, and he said no. The reason is the Oilers are not 16-5 anymore, and I don't think Holland sees it as I'm trading my first when it's this. When it's this. They want to get healthy and see where things go. So we're not going to be seeing that first round pick being traded, nor are we going to see Bergold, Holloway, or Broberg. So we basically have no one to really trade away. And I heard not just that long ago today as well that Freeman and Merrick also have heard that Edmonton isn't willing to do a first round pick for Jacob Chikrin. And Merrick adds that he's surprised by a lot of the things that are coming out of Edmonton and that they didn't make sense to him. So you're telling me that Merrick and Freeman, and especially Merrick, doesn't understand and is surprised about what the Edmonton Oilers are doing right now. And you're telling me that Holland is not willing to fork out a first-round pick for Jacob Chikrin? You got to be shitting me. Jacob Chikrin would be an amazing pickup for this team and to improve us defensively instead of having Duncan Keith as our top 4D. Especially with us dealing with injuries, we could use a little bit of extra depth in that defensive core. But you're telling me that we're not willing to trade away a first-round pick during, McDavid's prime years. We're not willing to sacrifice a little bit to, make a huge playoff run. Are you fucking shitting me? How dumb can this team possibly be? We're going to go and pick up Evander Kane, the guy that, made the San Jose Sharks worse. Yeah, he was a point per game player, but the team looked like crap with him. And now you're seeing how the Sharks are playing this year. The team is 100% playing a lot better. We have players that, we're year 8 with Draisaitl, year 7 with McDavid, and you're telling me that we're not going all in? It mind boggles me. It really does, how we're just going to keep wasting the years of McDavid. And that's why I called this podcast that we have no hope, because we don't. We have these clueless GM and this clueless head coach that continues to run this team into the ground. The fact that, when Mike Smith was healthy, which he's now injured once again, that we weren't even going to rely on Stuart Skinner, who was probably one of our best goalies out of the stretch during this last month. Stuart Skinner was our best goalie. I thought he was playing a lot better than Mikko Koskinen. I thought he was even looking better than Mike Smith this year. And for some reason, we sent him back down to the AHL, where he was posting a .930 save percentage. He was asked about this. Of course, he's like, oh, playing the kids, and repeated that over and over again. And also talked about his years in Detroit. I don't care about your years in Detroit, man. I could care less. I want to hear positive stuff. I want to hear you talk about, this team, not what you did with the fucking Detroit Red Wings. I couldn't even watch the full press conference with Ken Holland. I watched a good half of it, and I was just brain dead after hearing what, Ken Holland had to say. I couldn't even really retain half of the information that he was talking about. And it hurts me. It confuses me. And of course, NHL Sim, make sure to go check him out on Twitter. This is what he also said on Twitter. I'm just so confused as Holland's idea of over-ripening all of his prospects and keeping all of his first. What is he exactly waiting for? Is he trying to speed up the rebuild after McDavid and Draisaitl are gone? Right? He keeps saying, Stuart Skinner, he's like, yeah, I want to play the kids, but I like to wait too long, and let them adjust before, throwing them right into it. But we're waiting too long on a lot of our prospects. Cooper Marody, who's been down the AHL for years, who's been producing great numbers over these past 2 years, and he's only played one NHL game. Ryan McLeod, we'd even start him this year, and he's been playing amazing for us this year. We'd even start him. We started him in the AHL. The dumbass decisions that this team is making is what's going to drive us into the ground. And we can't trade away everyone, man. That's not going to fix our fucking issues. Trading away everyone would just be dumb. You have McDavid and Draisaitl, you have 2 generational talent, and you have a chance to make a really good team. You do. But Holland is throwing it right into the ground. He easily could say that Chick isn't the number 1 guy we are after. We're looking for a guy out east. Yeah, but to improve the team, you need to make those types of trades where, yeah, you might have to sacrifice a trade where you're throwing a first-round pick to a Western Conference team. It's hard to find a defenseman around the NHL. It's either that we make a deal for Hampus Lindholm or Jacob Chychrun, and Chychrun would probably be a better guy. And Marody and Griffith both looked great in the one game that they did play. But for some reason, Holland keeps making these dumbass decisions of not wanting to play the top guys. It's stupid. It really is stupid that we're not willing to play these guys, and it's blowing my brain. It really is, that the fact that we're not willing to give these guys a chance, it's just blowing my mind. Otherwise, yeah, not making any trades. How we're making this team horrible, but keeping these prospects just down there and not giving them a try is we're doing them worse. Marody, I think, is on his last year of his contract and most likely will go somewhere else where he's going to get a better chance and actually play in the NHL. And for the fact that Holland's not willing to trade away or fire Tippett and continue riding with what we got, and that's what he was saying, that he believes in this current group that we have and that we can go, and I think that the team could turn it around. I don't know, man. The last month that I seen from this team, it didn't look like we could turn it around. And what I've been seeing from this team all year, it looks like we can't turn this team around, to be completely honest with you. Watching this team from the beginning of the season, we've been playing horrible 5-on-5 hockey, and we've been carried massively by our power play. Our power play has been the biggest reason why we were actually winning a lot of the games, and the reason why we started off 16-5. And that was the biggest reason why we started off the season so red hot, was because of the fact that we played so well on our power play, and that McDavid and Draisaitl were producing numbers that just weren't, maintainable. They're going to go a little bit down. They still are producing great. I think they're at like a point per game, 2 points per game, something like that. They're still amazing, without a doubt. I'm not blaming McDavid or Draisaitl for the reason why we're not successful right now. But there's a lot of things that need to happen. Yeah, trade Keith, I wish we could. We got him stuck on the damn team. And, yes, we've been dealing with a lot of COVID crap. I think there's only been a few players. I think Draisaitl's on that list of, like, players that haven't gotten COVID. Most of the team has gotten COVID. It does suck to see that a lot of our players have gotten COVID, and we've been dealing with that. It blows. And now Mike Smith is out with another injury, which we're going to be getting into that as well. But, we've been dealing with so much COVID crap. It's just really unfortunate that we continue to have to deal with that. Turris is going to miss this next game with COVID. I'm not too sure who else is. But, we're dealing with a lot of the fact that we're having problems keeping players in the lineup. We've been dealing with a lot of injuries. We've been dealing with a lot of COVID. But, even before we got stopped by COVID, we've been dealing with this horrible 5-on-5 game. And Holland didn't do anything to give us any sort of relief or, any sort of answers on how they're going to improve that 5-on-5 game. He just said that, have belief in the team. How am I supposed to have belief in this team when they don't play like they're supposed to? And Tippett continues putting these stupid, moronic lineups together, right? Like, when he puts these lineups together, what the fuck does he think, putting Keith and Barry alongside of each other for this upcoming game? Like, I don't understand, and why we continue to give chances to Zach Kassian up on that top line when we talk about accountability, but then we don't actually do anything for accountability, and we bench Dmitry Samorukov for the entire game, and Duncan Keith makes the same goddamn mistakes and doesn't get benched. I just think that this team, with the management that we got and the coaches that we got, we're never going to go anywhere. I actually feel like this team might actually miss the playoffs. We're right now 6th in the division, and we're not talking about doing anything to improve this team, and that we're finding contempt with having this team the way that it is, and that we could turn things around. I know that, doing panic midway through the season trades is a bad idea. It is, without a doubt. But for fucking going after Evander Kane, are you shitting me? You think that this guy will be the fix to our current squad right now when the biggest issue is Dave Tippett, and not just that defense? The defense looks atrocious out there, and you're telling me that, yeah, without a doubt, we need another goal scorer. Without a doubt, we definitely need some more depth scoring, but we need a lot of things, and Holland could have picked that up during the offseason, and we didn't. We fucking did not do any of that. The players that we did pick up have actually been playing worse, and I think that's because of Tippett. You can look at a lot of the stats. Fogle has been worse since he got here. Derek Ryan, Skeevier's been all right. But there's a lot of players that have joined the squad this year and have looked worse since joining this team. It's not good. And another thing that I wrote down on my notes is, can this team turn things around? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I was hoping and relying on the fact that, Tippett is going to be getting fired, but we're not going to be seeing Tippett getting fired this year. Holland has too much belief in this team, and if we do fire Tippett, it'll be by time game 60, and we're far away from the playoffs, and it's too late. So, honestly, with the way that this team is continuing to play, and if we continue to struggle 5-on-5, we're not going anywhere. Teams are starting to figure out the way that we play. And you could see that out there, that if teams play really solid defensively against us, shut down that top line, we can't do anything else. Because we're playing fucking Devon Shore and Kyle Turris. And they don't do jack shit out there. And you're right, Fan Rocks. Tippett has kind of lost the room. It seems like it. The team doesn't seem to play very good right now. A lot of the youngsters just continue to be ripped apart and not given chances. Like, I have no belief in this team. I really don't. Kemper's been for Kemper's been really not that great. And not even just that, we're not even playing Benson in this lineup for going into tomorrow's game. We're playing 7 D-men again, and I cannot wait to see us play Legason for 2 fucking minutes. Like, these lineups are an absolute fucking joke. The way that Tippett continues handling these lines and the way that we continue to play as a team is just going to go down in the gutter. It really is. This team is going to go deep down into the gutter. And the way that we are playing right now is just absolutely disgusting. And we need to play a lot better than what we are right now. But I really don't see this team turning things around. It's hard to see it that way. You know, unless Skinner plays amazing and we actually get some good defensive guys, that's the only way that I can see this team play. But for Tippett, but for Holland saying that he's not willing to trade away a first-round pick for Chychrun, then we have lost all hope. Legit. If Merrick is saying that, he does not understand what this team is doing and surprised by a lot of the decisions that they are making, we have lost this team. We have. And if those guys don't understand, I don't think we're going to make it to the playoffs this year. I really don't believe that. And yeah, I could totally be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. I hope that I'm wrong on the fact that wrong on the fact that we're not going to make it to the playoffs. I hope we do. I hope we do make it to the playoffs because this is a team that does need to make it to the playoffs. This is a team that should. We're in year 8 and 7 of Draisaitl and McDavid, and you're telling me that we might not be a playoff team? If you were telling me during the first, few years of McDavid and you told me that this team might not even be a playoff team or a Stanley Cup contender by year 8 or 7 for Draisaitl and McDavid, I would tell you to go fuck yourself. I would tell you that you were wrong and that we're going to be winning a cup by this time. But it certainly doesn't look that way. Even if we do make it to the playoffs, are we even going to make it out of the first round? Especially with the defense that we have, with Keith and Barry and Cece. Do you think this is a team that is a playoff worthy and a round worthy? I don't care about leadership, Keith is not bringing anything to that ice. He can't even play defense. He looks 38. He looks older than that. He looks old and doesn't look like a top 4 defenseman anymore. And that's why we need to make a big deal for Chychrun and Lindholm, because we would play a hell of a lot better if we had a better defenseman back there. But we just don't. We just continue to not make these types of trades. And it's absolutely mind-boggling. It really is. I don't understand why we continue to do the things that we're doing. I honestly don't. If you guys have any questions in the chat below, just let me know. I'm going to ramble on a lot about certain things, but if you guys have any questions about anything or, have any, opinions or whatever it may be, throw it down in the chat below. I'll definitely be answering them as well as we slowly go along. We'll might as well jump right into the Evander Kane talks. I think this is definitely another debatable, topic. Of course, I've seen like a poll of like 60% Oilers fans think that we should be picking up Evander Kane, while 40% believe we should just stay away from Evander Kane. I'm one of those people that believe that we shouldn't go after Evander Kane. I think, Evander Kane would be a massive player for us to pick up. He would produce a lot of offense. He would be that goal scorer that we need, but the drama and the things that he brings along with them. All the COVID stuff that got him suspended for 21 games, and now apparently he flew from San Jose to Vancouver while testing positive for COVID-19 8 days early. So he broke a law because you're supposed to wait 15 days and be cleared medically to fly on the plane to go to Canada. And he broke another law once again for COVID. And you're telling me that, we just had a huge COVID outbreak, and you're telling me that we want this guy on the team, especially with Stalock having all the health issues that he had, and same with Archibald and Stalock just returning back, and you're telling me that we want to pick up this Evander Kane guy just because we could maybe potentially win a few games, even though he can't play fucking defense? It scrambles my brains that we're not willing to trade away a first round pick for a guy that will actually help the team out, but yet we're willing to fucking, Evander Kane, yeah, we'll go all for him. And for people to ride on Connor McDavid, I understand, that, McDavid's the leader and he should step up, I understand that. But you look at what's happened in the NFL with Antonio Brown. Is anyone going to step up and say, I don't like Antonio Brown, I don't like the way that he is, he's kind of an asshole? No one does that. I'm sorry, but McDavid is not going to try to talk about Evander Kane and the things that he's done. He's not. pure and simple. I know that, when McDavid said that it is what it is, I don't care. I just want to focus on hockey. That's what most people say in those types of press conference. I don't know what people were expecting out of McDavid. I think people were expecting McDavid to call out Evander Kane and call him a piece of shit, which McDavid's not going to do that. McDavid has never been that. And for people to say that, McDavid's not a good enough leader because he didn't step up and say something about it, he's not going to. If Ken Holland wants to pick up Evander Kane, then, McDavid's going to sit his ass down and be like, I agree. I guess let's do that. If you believe that he's going to help the team out, then I believe in you. And that's what McDavid is. He's doing. He's believing in Holland. And I don't even know how he was allowed on the plane there, Fan Rocks. I have no idea how he was allowed. Trade proposal price, 50% retain on Anderson to Edmonton. No. Montreal gets 3 first. Yeah, fuck no. No. We would not be doing that. That would be a gong show of a trade. That's practically picking up Zach Cassian 2.0, but worse. I can't believe how bad this team has gotten, especially after a rowdy start we had this season. I don't know why Keith and Cece are paired when I thought Keith was supposed to be a mentor to a rookie. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't even think Keith would be that good of a guy to do that. But also, McDavid was asked that question like 3 times. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I read the article on it, and I'll pop it up right quick on a few of his things that he did say from the article that I like to point out. Where was it again? I know at the bottom he said, Evander Kane's an amazing player. He has lots of success over the last couple of years. Whatever else has been going on is not really something that I look into much. Now, yeah, definitely, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe... probably McDavid might not be as educated or knowing what's really going on with Evander Kane and all the stuff that he's going to bring along with him. But this is also the big thing that he was saying. I'm not really here to discuss optic issues, McDavid says. If the fans don't like it or that the media doesn't like it, whatever. I'm sure there's lots of things that go on the ice and whatnot that fans don't like. And we don't necessarily have to discuss those things with you guys. The public opinion is something that obviously matters. But we're here to try to win games and try to put together a good team on the ice. If Kenny thinks that's what we can do, then that's what we can do. Kenny's got our full support in what he does. Now, I'm on the side. Yeah, maybe McDavid should have said that maybe we don't want Evander Kane on the team. Maybe he could talk with Holland, but I'm no guy to attest what he I don't know. I'm not here to, I don't know. It's hard to talk about this because there's multiple certain ways that you could go about it. You could definitely fucking fully hate on McDavid. You could say that, McDavid should have said a lot more. He should have went hard on Evander Kane, but you're not going to do that publicly. When as any celeb or hockey player or sport player has went out and said publicly to the media and rip on a certain player. Right? Not very often does that ever happen, and especially when you're hearing rumors about a player joining the team, when is a player going to say a ton about it? Not really, and I agree that the hockey culture is broken, and, Evander Kane has had multiple strikes, that he should not return to the NHL. He's had multiple chances, and he's ruined every single one of them. He ruined Winnipeg, he ruined Buffalo, he ruined Sharks, and now we're saying that we're going to bring him into Edmonton. Look how, and the biggest example that I have with Kane and the reason why I really don't want him on the team and that I think he's a toxic piece of shit is that, you look at the Sharks and how well they've been playing this year and how well Hurdles looked this year, and just about everyone there with the San Jose Sharks have looked 100% better than what they were when Evander Kane was on the team. It looked at like Evander Kane was just a cesspool of drama, and he is. Evander Kane is a big drama queen, and I don't want him on the Edmonton Oilers because this is going to bring more unwanted drama to the team. We already dealing with so much drama with, all the, us doing bad and Ken Holland and wanting to fire Dave Tippett. We're already dealing with so much, and now you're wanting to bring in another troubled player just because we believe that we could turn them around is just stupid. It is. I don't want Evander Kane on the team, no matter if he brings a lot of talent. If we do, I don't believe we'll make it in the playoffs. I don't believe Evander Kane is going to be enough to put this team into the playoffs. I don't believe that. I think we need a defenseman more than anything. We definitely do need depth scoring, without a doubt. But we need better D, without a doubt. That is our biggest weakness right now, is depth in the offense, D, and goaltending. And it's kind of funny how I talk about that. If I were to make this podcast 3 years ago, this would be the exact same fucking thing that I was talking about, our biggest weakness. Depth scoring, D, and goaltending. What was the biggest 3 things that was, needed to be addressed when Holland got hired? Depth, D, goaltending. And guess what? It hasn't been fixed. All 3 of them. All 3 of them haven't been fixed yet. And Holland's been in office for almost 1,000 days. That's how disappointing this team is, man. It really is a disappointing thing to look over and say, that we're 3 years into Ken Holland's tenure and he still hasn't done a lick of anything to improve this team or make this team any better. It's disappointing. It really is. It is massively disappointing to continue to watch this team disappoint me over and over and over and over again. I want this team to do good. I don't want to hate on this team. I want to hype up this fucking team. I want to do everything in my power to hype up this team and give them the hype that they deserve. But right now, they don't deserve any of my hype. They deserve nothing but hate from me because of how poor and stupid they have been. You're telling me that Cooper Marody doesn't deserve a call-up when he's been doing amazing down the AHL? Absolutely blows my mind. I don't think I have any more words to say for Ken Holland, that the fact that we shouldn't have ever hired Ken Holland and we should have never hired Dave Tippett. Yo, Mark, I've been following the league news casually for the last month or two. Even I'm like, bye Felicia with Kane. Oh yeah, I don't want Kane in the NHL. He's a big drama player, and the fact of the matter is, if he's going to continue being like that and continue being an asshole, then I don't think he deserves to be in the NHL. Pure and simple. If you're going to continue to be a toxic waste in every locker room that you go in, I don't think you deserve to be in the NHL. But we see this with every sport. We've seen it with Antonio Brown, I think, is the biggest example of a player who has had a lot of problems. He goes through a lot of mental shit. And, he shouldn't continue to get chances in the NFL. But he continues to get chances. And we're seeing that with Evander Kane now. He's the same thing as Antonio Brown, who brings a lot of drama. But he continues to get signed by different teams, even though he shouldn't. And we're just going to continue seeing that with Evander Kane. I think we're going to see that until, the day he retires. And we're going to see that for a long time until hockey culture changes. I think toxic waste is ass. He is. He is ass. And I don't know why we continue to bring him in. Makes no sense to me. Absolutely none. Alrighty. So we'll talk about one thing before we get into the Sens and Ottawa Senators game. Ottawa Senators versus the Edmonton Oilers game tomorrow. We'll get into one last thing before we jump into that, and then that'll be basically it for the podcast, because I'm a little tired, feeling a little bit under the weather. I've been doing a lot of work, so I'm definitely going to be taking a big-ass nap in that bed after this. But the one thing I do want to talk about is our boy Carter Savoy, which I give it to Holland. He's done one thing right, and that's drafting. Some of his draft picks have been pretty good. And Carter Savoy has been amazing in the NCAA this year for the University of Denver. He's had 22 points in 16 games and has been nominated for the Hobby Baker Award, which is just absolutely amazing for Savoy. I've always loved Savoy since day one that he got drafted to this team. I thought he was real sick in the AJHL, putting up, the 50 goals in 54 games. I thought he was amazing. Thinking that he was going to rip it up in the NCAA, and then he did. And now even this year, he's doing a lot better in his second year in the NCAA and just continues to improve and really just be that fantastic prospect. Bobby Brink is, a few points ahead of him. He's second on the team in points. He's been amazing this year for that team, and I've been loving Carter Savoy, and I think he's just been an amazing player, an amazing prospect, and I'm really excited to see where he will go next for the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm excited to see when he jumps in to the actual squad, because I think he will be an amazing superstar once he does jump into the league. So, let's get into talking about the Ottawa Senators versus the Edmonton Oilers game that will happen tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. I might be live for it tomorrow, just depend on how I'm feeling. If I am still feeling under the weather, I might not be live tomorrow, so we'll have to see. Do you want to do stuff with a girl? Oh, yeah, but, I want to sleep. I'd rather sleep than, not. Yo, bye, Max. How's it going, bro? So we'll talk about the lineups that we have seen from the practice lines tonight. So basically the lineups going into tomorrow. I'm not, I'm meh. Not doing too bad. Feeling a little bit under the weather, but not feeling too bad. How about you, bud? So yeah, let's get into talk about the Ottawa Senators versus the Edmonton Oilers game that will happen tomorrow. So basically the first line is Draisaitl, McDavid, Cassian. The second line, we got Hyman, McLeod, Puljujärvi, then Yamamoto, Ryan, and Skeevier, and Perlini and Shore. Then defensively, we got Nurse and Ceci, Keith and Barry, Legason and Bouchard, and Cuckoo as the seventh defenseman with Skinner in the starting net, and then Koskinen and Kunovalov. So first of all, why does Cassian continue to get chances? Absolutely boggles my brain on the reason why he continues to play up on the top line, and the fact that, we're down by a few guys, but yet we're playing McDavid and Draisaitl alongside of each other. It does not make any sense to me. I love when we pair up McDavid and Draisaitl. I think it's amazing. But when you don't have any depth and we're not playing Benson again, which I don't even know what to talk about with this team, with these lineups, because it gives me a headache, and it's giving me a headache again to talk about these fucking lineups, because all I feel like doing is puking every time I look at these lineups. Nurse and Ceci, I love. I think that's, a really good defensive parent. But then Keith and Barry? I don't have any words to say about this D. I really don't. I don't have any words to say about this defensive core, but for the fact that it's not good. It's not good at all, and I'm not a big fan of this D. I think it's not a very good defensive core that we got built right now, especially playing Keith and Barry. I'd rather have Bouchard play alongside of Keith, and why we continue to throw Bouchard on the third pair when he's been one of our better defensemen. I know he hasn't been playing good alongside of Nurse, but why not give him a chance alongside of Keith? See how that goes. I mean, you got to give something. We got to give something a new try. And yeah, you're right, Fan Rocks. Only pair up Mick and Dry last minute down by a goal. That is when you do it. I thought, why not throw Draisaitl, alongside of, Hyman and Yamamoto. You do that again. And do Yamamoto and Pulley, or I guess, I don't know, maybe even try Benson up in the top six. I don't know why we haven't tried Benson up in the top six either. Like, it makes no sense to me why we continue doing the things that we're doing. And then, of course, yeah, Roy, end of the day, we definitely need a quality, healthy goalie. Mike Smith continues to get injured again. He's injured again. It makes no sense. I don't understand why. It blows my mind that once again we're having to deal with Mike Smith getting injured. And who knew? Who knew that Mike Smith wasn't going to be healthy this year? Ever since we picked him up, he's been injured almost every single year. Every single year he's been injured. Who knew that, signing him to a multi-year deal was going to be a bad idea? Who knew? Who fucking knew? No words here. Just not sure where the results will end up for the Oilers if they don't clinch the playoffs with McDavid and Dry for one more season. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Max. What does this team do? Would you go after Holtby? I mean, yeah, he's I mean, he's putting up good numbers this year, but he's not going to carry this bad defensive core that we right now got. I think the biggest thing is that we definitely need better D. Better D, better goaltender, and better depth. Year 7 of McGiant still not improved. Yeah, I was just saying that, we're 3 years in with Holland, and the same problems still arise since we got Holland. These lineups that I just said make me want to barf every time I read them. How are we not playing Benson? How are we not playing Marody? How are we not playing certain players that should be playing in the lineup? It makes no sense to me. And also the fact that we weren't even going to play Skinner until Mike Smith got injured once again. And I hope that Skinner absolutely pops off. But even if he does pop off, are they just going to send him back down to the AHL like they did Evan Bouchard last year? Every time Bouchard played amazing, they're like, oh yeah, go right back up to the press box, sit up there, you dwell, watch the games, practice with the team. You don't get to do anything, no. Absolutely blows my mind, man. Absolutely blows my mind. And I think I'm going to cut the podcast short here, guys. I'm not feeling too great, so I think I'm going to go pass out because I definitely feel a little drowsy, and I feel like I'm going to pass out here. So I'm going to cut the podcast a little short. The farthest they've been in the playoffs is the second round. And yeah, you are right. The farthest we have been is the second round. Also, one other thing, Stalock is back for the Edmonton Oilers. He was put on waivers today, so he'll probably get a few games down the AHL. He was, suffering with that heart condition that he had. So that is awesome to see that Stalock might be returning. Who knows on how good he'll be, if he's going to be a guy that compete for, a starting level job. I think he's mostly a backup goalie. He had really one good year with Minnesota, but I'm not really too big of a fan on Stalock. But we'll have to see how well he does in the AHL. Otherwise, I think that's really about it. We believe in second chances, but, we'll give a contract to Evander Kane, but everyone will hate on Taylor Hall and call him a toxic piece of shit. But everyone's all up in arms for Mr. Evander Kane, We're all up for Evander Kane, but we all hated on Taylor Hall. Just makes no sense to me, man. But thank you very much for tuning in to the very first episode of the OilersCast. I will be live once again next week. I should be joined by maybe somebody for the special guest for next show. But for right now, guys, I'm going to cut the episode early. Usually episodes will be about an hour and a half long. But since I'm not feeling too great, I decided to cut it a little bit short for this one. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'll see you guys all in the next